Hi guys, so today's video is going to be a book haul. I'm super excited for a lot of these books because they are not extremely popular and as talked about as a lot of other books I see often mentioned. So I'm really excited about these ones. Some of them are sequels to books I've read, some of them are just things I've seen other people talk about but still aren't as widely known. Before jumping into the books, a thank you to glassesusa.com who is sponsoring this video. So I'll have a few different frames to show you. I think at this point a lot of you have heard me talk about them before, so you kind of get the gist, but just in case you don't, the way it works is that it's an online glasses retailer that takes the middleman out of the equation. So you just insert your photo of yourself, you can virtually try on glasses, and then you also put in your prescription, and then you pick a pair and they get sent directly to you. It is much cheaper than going to a store to get them, and also for those of you that have, you know, if you're introverted like me and you don't necessarily want to go out and be around other humans sometimes, it's great for that. They always have a huge selection of different styles, and they also have name brands, so you can find ones that would normally be extremely expensive and high-end, and then you can also find their in-house brands, if you will, which a lot of times end up being some of my favorites. But I have 3 different pairs I'm going to show you today. I'll definitely, of course, have them linked, but also this is going to be a giveaway. That's how I like to do it. I like to try to give back where I can. So the way to enter the giveaway, just comment in the comment section down below, include the glasses emoji in your comment, and then follow them on YouTube, and that's it. That's all you have to do to enter. One of the pairs of glasses would be this pair that I'm wearing, so I really wanted to try another pair of clear frames. I have a pair that I like, but I also, the last time that I was interested in clear pairs, I still had my eye on this pair and I really wanted to try it out, and now it's one of my favorite pairs of glasses. I absolutely love it. It's not too chunky in my opinion. It's just the right size as far as how big they are on the face and how wide they go out. I like the shape of them. They're not super cat eye, but they have that little lift at the top. I just love them, and I think they go with basically everything because they're clear, so they're basically neutral. Opposite of that, I wanted to go for something that had a little bit of character to it, so I got my first ever kind of irregular shaped glasses, but I still kept with something that isn't too bold because I wanted to have a little fun with the shape but also keep it a little bit more neutral. I'll use that word again for the actual way that they look. So this pair of glasses, I'll have you see them closer. They're not just rectangular and they're not just circular. They have those sharper angles on them, which I really like. I saw somebody wearing a pair like this at one point and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I want a pair. And so I really like these. Even though the frames themselves are darker, I don't feel like they look extremely harsh or anything. I just think they're fantastic. The last pair, it's a classic circular shape and also just a nice black. For a long time, I was like, I'm going to have fun with my glasses. I'm going to pick different colors, or I'm going to have no color at all with the clear ones. And I used to wear a black pair of glasses all the time, and then I kind of came back to it. And I do really like these. I always love a good round glasses shape. I think that they're kind of a classic look at this point. So I really enjoy these also. All of these pairs. I think they can go with so many different things. I will have all of these pairs and glassesusa.com linked in the description bar down below. But now jumping into the books. The first one, I'm actually going to hold up a book that I already own because I actually ordered the sequels to this. So this is Age of Assassins by R.J. Barker. And this was one I read recently that follows the apprentice to an assassin, and I know it ends up sounding like literally the book Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. They're not really alike at all. I am going to have a full in-depth non-spoiler book review for this going up, so you'll be able to hear more there, but I ended up really enjoying this book. I like to read YA books in between a lot of the more epic fantasy, but sometimes I don't want to lean too young, and I want something that's still adult, but maybe isn't as massive in scope, the world's not as giant, or maybe it's not as dense. And this one I thought was great for that. Definitely a good introduction into adult fantasy, I think, if you're used to reading YA or you're intimidated by a lot of the big ones like Storm My Archive and things. So I ordered the next 2. It is a trilogy. I really enjoyed it. I definitely feel like you could read this as a standalone if you wanted, but I enjoyed it enough that I ordered the next 2. On a similar note, I picked up Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. So, where Age of Assassins is the first book in a trilogy, and I ended up wanting to check out the sequels. This one is a book where I read a different series by this author, or at least the first book in that series, which would be Black Sun, and I liked that book enough to be very interested in her other works. From what I understand, this is urban fantasy that also has a Native American main character, which I think is awesome. It's very different from what I usually pick up. Urban fantasy is a genre that honestly I haven't read a ton of, so if you have recommendations, please feel free to leave them down below. I have been really liking a lot of the not as medieval inspired fantasy books that I've been picking up, which, I mean, Age of Assassins is kind of that classic medieval feel, but either way, I have been picking up some fantasy that isn't that. So Fireborn, I picked up a book called Dark of the West, which was more like a World War II fantasy, and I've been really enjoying that. So whatever recommendations you have. But either way, I mentioned in a video a little bit ago that Rebecca Roanhorse is an author I could see becoming a new favorite because I really enjoyed Black Sun. I thought it was very different from a lot of things that I had read before, so I'm really excited to jump into this series too. Apparently, keeping with the same color scheme of yellows and reds, we have this one, which would be Empire of Sand. So for my birthday, last year, it's right around when the illness was going around, and my birthday was March 19th, and last year, that's right around when, for those that know my personal situation from 2020, that's right around when my father started to become ill. So there was two different things that contributed to me not really celebrating my birthday last year. And then this year, things obviously haven't become super open, but they're a little bit more able to go out and about. And my mom was like, okay, I need to get you presents for both your birthday last year and this year. So she picked up this book for me, or I should say she went to the bookstore with me and I picked up this book, and then she bought it for me. She also bought me several board games and another book. She went all out. She was like, I gotta make up for last year. And also just in general, literally last year, not just my birthday, but the fact that it was terrible. So this particular story, though, getting to the book itself, I don't know that I can very well articulate what it's about. One, because I haven't read it, but also because it sounds very unique and interesting. So I think it's better if I just read a little bit of the back for you. So it says, a nobleman's daughter with magic in her blood, an empire built on the dreams of enslaved gods. And it seems to follow a character who has really interesting magic, who's the daughter of these kind of important individuals. I don't know. I just haven't heard a ton of people talk about this one before, but I've had my eye on it, and it seems to have a lot of buzzwords that I think sound really cool, and it seems like it might have a really cool magic system. So fingers crossed that I like this one. Next up is a book I got from my local used bookstore. They do this wonderful thing. The bookstore is called Changing Hands. If you're ever in Arizona, always, I recommend going there. But they do this thing where if you bring in a book, then they will sell it for a cheaper price. And they have both new and used books, and I happened upon this one, which was on sale because it was a used one. And that would be The Midnight Bargain. So I also, similar to the other one up there, I'd had my eye on this one purely because I think the cover is gorgeous. So I've noticed it several different times, and then when I saw it was on sale, I was like, okay, well, I feel like now's a good time to pick it up. But also, it just seems like it has a lot of themes that I might really enjoy. So we follow a character who really wants to become a mage, but she also has a lot of obligations of marriage that are kind of forced upon her, and she wants to try to have more freedom for herself. She has to choose between these two different paths. I saw that it has okay ratings, but I've also found recently that a lot of times when people, I don't know, the average ratings for the books that I end up really liking often are not super, super high. I'll see books, for example, Queens of Innisleer has a fairly low rating, and I think that book is amazing, but also it's just not your typical story. It's a Shakespeare retelling, and it's very, the writing style is very beautiful and kind of poetic, and a lot of people are like, it's boring, and I'm like, it surely is, but also I think it's great. So sometimes, you know, I try not to pay too much attention to Goodreads ratings. So still really interested in this one, but I guess I'm also like, we'll find out if I end up agreeing with a lot of other people. Next up, we have the book Such a Fun Age. I definitely think that this is a book that a bunch of people were reading last year. I believe it was a Goodreads Choice Awards winner, or at least a nominee. I think it won. I looked at the sticker as if it was going to tell me. It says Reese's Book Club. I don't think there is a sticker for Goodreads Choice Awards. But anyway, I had a stupid moment. But either way, I found this book on sale at my local used bookstore, and I was like, yes, finally. So I picked it up. It seems to be a lot about kind of performative activism, racism, those sorts of things. And I have been really enjoying this year when I do get around to books that are non-fantasy. I have liked a lot of them. Next up was another birthday gift book, and that would be, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. That would be Camelot by Giles Christian. So I read Lancelot by the same author, and it is extremely beautifully written. I think for fans of the book Bloodsong, you might enjoy the writing style that this author has. My friend Jessie from Jessie May, she has her own channel, I'll have it linked. She asked me if there were any books I wanted for my birthday, and I just sent her a list, and she ended up picking up this one for me. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. This is an author I do want to read so much more of because I think that they're very underrated, very underhyped. So thank you, Jessie. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Next up would be the other book that my mom bought for me, and that would be Thorn. So I have seen occasionally some people mention this one, but really the reason I picked this up is because whenever I've mentioned, or at least I should say asked, your recommendations for fairy tale retellings, whether that be here on booktube or on Bookstagram, this one gets brought up, but also it gets brought up with like a why the heck is no one talking about this, because this one is really great and I never see it discussed. So I'm trusting all of you on this one. I'm really excited. A lot of times you guys, I don't know, you point out some good ones for me, and I love finding those books that aren't as heavily talked about. Like I said, that's kind of almost the theme of this video. So I'm definitely really excited for it. And also, I didn't realize, but everything so far has been adult fantasy, or adult, I should say, in general, because that one is obviously not fantasy. But this one is YA, and I do like YA, so it's nice to have a YA book in the mix as well. Speaking of YA, I did pick up Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo, and if you don't know, I had quite mixed feelings for King of Scars. And they're not really that mixed. It was more of that I really enjoyed the first half. Well, I guess it's mixed. It's like right down the middle, literally. The first half of the book I really enjoyed, and I didn't really love where it went in the second half. And I was like, gosh darn it. I didn't really like it that much, but I really want to know what happens. Gosh darn it. So then I picked it up. I'm hoping to read it soon. I'll let you know my thoughts on it. Last on the list is a book that I ordered hoping to pick up for the ACMC readathon, but it kind of arrived later into the month of March. So I was like, I'll pick up some other stuff, but I still plan to read this as soon as I can. I'm so excited. And I was like, dang, this is a cool cover. I don't know why. I saw the picture of the cover online and I thought it was cool, but in person, it just looks even cooler. So that would be The Cardinal Blades. And this is a translated work. I believe it was originally written in French. And I do want to read more translated fantasy. I think after that Times 100 list came out, it just kind of, one of my criticisms of that list, I'm grateful that that list even exists. It's great to have fantasy recognized. But also, I couldn't help but notice that pretty much most of the list was from books that have been written in English. So I was like, well, okay, I'm contributing to the problem by never picking up translated works, I feel like. So I wanted to try to find more translated fantasy. This is one of the ones that I was hoping to get to this year. And like I said, I'm hoping to get to it very soon. It follows, I guess it's kind of like a very swashbuckling good time kind of fantasy that has dragons in it, and I think it's got some religious, like fantasy religion elements to it and individuals within that religion, and I'm thinking maybe there's some corruption or something. I don't know, obviously I haven't read it yet, but I've heard really good things. I hear it's a lot of fun from everything I've read about it. That's it for this book haul. Thank you again to glassusa.com for sponsoring this. I'll have them linked down below, like I said. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. I'll be announcing the winner over on my community tab in roughly 1 week, so be on the lookout to see if you're the winner. It is open internationally. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you all later.